Hello, everyone. This is your update for August, part one. Part one because I have a few appointments this month. I only had two scheduled, but now I have two more after recent events. And I'm coming to you from the kitchen this time. My game that I didn't know I was playing called How Many Different Rooms Can I Record In? So, yeah, let's jump into the update on the medical front. I went and saw a neurologist yesterday, and that visit went okay. I've talked about it before, but I'm noticing a trend with male doctors, and it's something that happened in the, you know, 2009 to 2012 era when I gave up, which I talked about in depth in the What's Wrong With Me series. And the new trend I'm noticing, well, the old trend was that they just don't listen, and then I got used by a group of four of them, but that's neither here nor there with what's going on now. The new trend I'm noticing is, so far, when I go to a new doctor that's a guy, I see 2 to 3 people before them, and so far they've been all female, and they are great. They listen, and they're attentive, and they talk, and they ask questions. And then the doctor will come in and just do none of those things. And it's where they're not talking to you, but talking at you. And I get that they are professionals and they have experience and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you can't blanket diagnose everyone the same way. Like when I went to the pain management guy, I was there for 2.5, 3 hours. I talked to him for maybe 5 minutes. Wasn't that bad. Like he talked to me for a good 10 to 15 minutes, but he just wasn't listening. Like he was doing an eye test for me because of the vertigo and stuff, which is why I was there. And he's like, your eye is slower on this side. And I tried to explain to him, but he had a hard time understanding me. So I had to slow down what I was saying because he wasn't a native English speaker, which is fine. I believe he was Indian, I think, just based on his last name. But again, that's not like a mark against him or anything like that. I'm not some jingoist, America guy, as some of you know. I'm just saying, it was hard to communicate with him. And the neurosurgeon I see in October, I believe, is also of Indian descent. So I hope that I can communicate with him. But back to the neurologist. He was doing the eye test thing for me. He's saying, your eye is slower on this side. And I tried to explain to him, it's because I'm nearsighted in one eye, farsighted in the other. It's easier for me to see things closer in one eye and easier for me to see things farther away in the other. So if you have your finger this far away from me, and I have to go like this eye's going to go take slower because it's having to try and focus on the thing that's closer to my face. If you held the finger way out where the camera is now, yeah, no problem. I can follow that. This eye is going to be slower because I have to drag. I was trying to get him to understand that. And he said, no, it's because you have the thing on the right side. And I was like, well, no, I had all the issues from the my brain. Yeah, sorry, I'm running on 5 hours of sleep based on the visits. My brain, come on, work. But the second time I had COVID, they gave me the shingles, they gave me the inner ear thing. It all happened on this side, all of it. I was two-faced for a while. That's why I have the beard. I have scars. It was hard to get him to understand what I was saying, and it was a little frustrating. And I'm always nice and accommodating to a fault. He wasn't understanding the timeline of my COVID situation and then what happened afterwards. It was tough. Whereas the two ladies I spoke to prior to him were very attentive and very engaging. Then, having had the pain management guy and the surgeon who did my hernia, it's a lot of the same thing where I'm almost ready to just say, if it's a male doctor, I'm not going to go to them because what's the point? I'm wasting my time. It's becoming the same old song and dance that I did not like prior when I swore off medical people altogether. And my PCP, primary care physician, is like the only guy that I've ever met as a doctor that actually freaking listens and is attentive. He's a good guy. So he wants me to do BPPV things at the physical therapy place I went to prior for regular physical therapy in May. That appointment is next week. I even asked, who I'll be working with. It's someone that I've worked with before, and I liked working with them, so I'm okay with that. I don't think it's BPPV, though, but I'm just doing it because he wants me to try it. He says if that doesn't work, we'll go from there. So we'll see what happens there. And I see him again in September. I think 6 weeks. And then earlier this morning, I went and saw an ENT doctor about a half hour away. And this time it was a female person. The ENT doctor was female. And I saw 3 people actually before I saw her. When you go in for vertigo, you have to do a hearing test. And that was awkward as hell. Because they stick things in your ears, in your ear canal. And they were these long tube things. It hurt in this ear. So I did that. That sucked. It was hard because, backtrack a little bit, from the neurologist, I was given printouts of BPPV exercises. One set was what the doctor person, or not the physical therapy person, rather, will do at the session. Another was ones you can do at home. And then another was just regular neck exercises that actually I already do every day anyway for my range of motion stuff for my neck. That's part of my physical therapy stuff I do here at home. So I gave them a shot, the ones at home, last night. And I shouldn't have done that because it made my symptoms worse. It brought upon the, intense dizziness, and also it made me nauseous. That's one thing I haven't gotten with the vertigo is nausea. Thank goodness. But yeah, I did not feel well. I was just ugh. And then I had to get in a car and drive half an hour to the ENT and do all this stuff. So the woman sticking things in my ears was just not a pleasant time. And I had to focus on the hinge of the door in order to just and I do that whenever I'm in elevated medical states of awfulness, which I could have worded that better. I have to just go to my mind palace and just endure. It's what I have to do when I have the MRIs and all this stuff. So I did the hearing test, and then I talked to 2 different women. Not sure what their jobs were, nurses, aides, or something. I don't know the name of these people who see me prior to the doctor. I should really look into that. And then I saw the ENT specialist, who I said was female, and she was fantastic. Just she was talkative. She was talking to me. She was talking with me, asking questions, and just listening. I've said this in videos before. I can't stress enough. Just if you are going into the medical field, or you are a doctor and you're somehow watching these, I can't stress enough that sometimes all we need is to be listened to and heard. And the ENT specialist did all of that. She was fantastic. I was telling her, I told her the whole story. COVID the first time, COVID the second time, shingles in her ear thing, the weird swelling and the swollen tongue thing I have. How I'm very aware of my ear canals and nasal cavity and throat and all of it. About how I use this as a diagram of my esophagus and my tongue, and how it feels swollen back here like this, it curves almost, which I can be a sign of throat, big C. I don't want to say the word. I'm weird like that. And I told her that. I was I'm terrified that I have that. There's a lot of stuff I'm probably forgetting, and my throat really hurts now because I've talked for 2 days in a row to doctors and now to y'all. And I haven't been talking that much at all here at home. me and Justin kind of communicate in a game of charades, kind of. I need some water. I'm trying to talk as little as possible, but I'll get to that if I can remember here in a sec. But yeah, it's one of the things that the neurologist didn't understand was, my 15-year journey and why I've been in pain for so long but didn't get help. And I tried to explain it, but I said I don't think he understood everything that I was saying. He wasn't difficult to talk to. It was just difficult to have a cohesive conversation with him. But then again, I also own up to my condition and my story, and all of it is very, unfortunately, extraordinary. I guess is the only way I can put it with my current blah brain. But yeah, the ENT, as said, was very, very awesome. And unfortunately, I have to go back in 3 weeks to her, and she wants to put a camera in my, like a little tube in my nose so they can videotape my throat. And she's like, and you can watch if you want. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to see like the inside of the body stuff. My imagination is just active enough as it is. I don't need to see what's going on because then it'll just add to my weird brain stuff, if that makes sense. If anyone else does that, let me know so I don't feel as alone. But yeah, she wants to put like a thing in my nose to record what's going on here. And as much as I am terrified, I don't like stuff like that. I'm also like, okay, good. That way she can see firsthand what's going on here and I can find out, what's going on, hopefully. I joked with her, I was like, my luck, it's going to be fine, it'll look perfect, and I don't know what the... So that's in 3 weeks. So I have the physical therapy, BPPV stuff next week, and then in 3 weeks, I have the camera in my nose to record my throat and tongue and stuff. So I think that's the medical stuff caught up for now. How I'm doing, pretty much the same. A little worse for wear because I'm tired from not getting much sleep. When we have out of town doctor visits, we get home much later than we would like to go to bed. I'm pretty much the same, unfortunately. It's looking like the thing I was hoping where I'd go there, they would diagnose something off the bat, and then we would work on fixing it, is not going to happen. The ENT does not think it's BPPV related. She said mainly because it's ongoing. And I have a feeling as well, but she told me to do it. She's like, do it, that way you can mark that off as a thing that it could be, and we'll go from there. I'm looking for a cure-all. I'm looking for like Curaga, and they can only do Cura right now. So it is so high, y'all. And I'm recording her on the phone, and I forgot to say, I apologize if the video or audio is bad. The second woman who came in before the doctor took my blood pressure, and it's always like 150 over 90. Like, that's baseline, it seems for me. And she was alarmed. She's like, is this abnormal? I'm like, no, this is actually generally what my blood pressure has been. Other than the time I went to the ER because it was like 210 over 100 or something. That's when I was like convulsing. And she asked, no one's brought it up or talked to you about it? And I was like, yeah, people brought it up, but I can only assume that being in pain every single day for 15 years has taken its toll on me and on my body. And my body's just at or as I explained it to the ENT, it's just like, holy crap, 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 all the time. Every second of like every waking moment for 15 years. It's like the neurologist yesterday just could not understand why I'd gone like this for so long, and I tried to explain the doctors and being mistreated, and I had a very good case if I wanted it for malpractice, but I didn't pursue it. And I told her, I gave up. It's the same, you know. Yeah, I feel like it was more from the ENT because we talked for a minute, which was nice. Oh, she said she doesn't think that it is the big C, in her opinion. She says if because I've been dealing with this for so long, especially this. I explained I've had this from the first time I had COVID in January 2021, and then all of this happened in January 2022, and I explained all this has been like building and building, and that's when the vertigo started after the shingles and the inner ear thing. Then the vertigo started. Like I would get vertigo and I would have it the rest of the day, but then I would go to bed, wake up, I'm good. This time, no, I've had it since mid-May, like May 15th or something. Going on 3 months of just. Ugh. I explained to her that it felt like if you were on a small like boat and you were going like that. So you had this like feeling just without the nausea. I haven't been nauseous other than before I went to the appointment this morning when I did the BPPV stuff on the bed because it's my flattest surface that I could do. It's hard for me to say those letters. Yeah, she doesn't think it is, the big C because she said I've had it for so long that if it was that, it would have worsened. And I was like, well, it has worsened because I've had the swelling and the weird thing with my tongue in the back and how my tongue feels wider in the back. And I've had to retrain myself to talk so I don't slur. If I talked like I used to normally talk, uh, it would. I'm not going to do it just for. It would sound very very bad. So I explained, how when I talk, it aggravates my throat. It's like my vocal cords are getting just irritated. So I've stopped talking. And that's a very recent thing in the last couple months. To the point where I have stopped talking as much as I can here at home. And if I do talk, I just try and talk in a whisper. That way I'm not using my full voice. But she says she doesn't think it is. She said that most of the times in patients that she's seen that have that, almost without fail, it's due to smoking, which obviously I don't smoke. And I should have asked her if smoking other stuff. Well, I haven't done that in a long time either. But, I used to. And the fear is compounded by just getting older and your body starts to fall apart. As you age, you start to wonder what's it going to be? What's going to take me? And what can I do to prevent it or stop it? I want to have the best chance at growing old as long as I can in the best shape that I can, even though this is proving to be problematic. But I say that because literally yesterday morning before I went to the neurologist, like 10 minutes before we left, I found out that one of my best friends from college had passed away from breast cancer. And, she was only 44. And she was great. She was just, but also, selfishly, it makes you think about your own mortality, which I do, and I have a lot with this, being afraid of what this could be, what this could be. What did COVID do to me? I told the ENT this morning is that in my experience, COVID targets whatever you're weakest to and magnifies it. Other people that I've seen, they had weak hearts and it attacked their heart and they died from heart failure. I've always had weak lungs ever since I was a kid. It went away in my 20s, but then came back after I got COVID the first time. And it's just, I'm very scared. And I know at some point my time will come. I want as many years with Justin as I can get. I want as many years to just be me before that is taken. But yeah, that's where we're at. I still feel the way I do. I'm still very just foggy and off balance, and still very aware of my ear canals, my nasal cavity, my throat. Still hurts to talk, as I've said a few times. Tongue is still swollen. Chest still feels like someone's sitting on it at all times, etc., etc. So I do have the 2 appointments, the physical therapy, head turning stuff, which I'm really scared of because of my neck, and the nose, or the tube in my nose thing for that. And I also have to do a balance thing in like a machine, but I have to schedule that when they get their machine in. So that'll be coming up. So those are the 2 next things for this month, and then I have the stuff in October, and then I have the stuff in September, and the stuff in October. I think that's everything. I think. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and and go back and try and relax, take my mind off of how I always feel. So unfortunately, editing is still put on hold. So hopefully by the end of this month, I will have some kind of answers as to what's going on somewhere. But that also means that unfortunately, this is a process. It's going to be a longer process than I had wanted. So editing is still put on hold for the foreseeable future until I can get my brain and faculties back and reclaim them if I can. And I do apologize for that. Again, I want to edit. I do try. I do. And it's very frustrating to have the desire, but not to have the ability to do something, which I've grown accustomed to over the last 15 years with this. But when it's dealing with like my awareness and concentration and ability to work, it just sucks. So yeah, that's that for now. I'll see you in part 2. This is probably gonna be a long video. I'm sorry. Part 2 to this after I know more. So I'll either talk to you after the BPPV thing, and again after the tube thing, or after both. I'm not sure. So I will see you in real time in a few weeks, some capacity, and in your time it'll be a few seconds. Hey everyone, this is update number 2 for August. The appointments for the month are now done. When I last left off, I had the BPPV thing, the appointment coming up. Went to that, and it was a bit scary because I have to be very careful on how I turn and move and stuff because of how fragile and brittle I am. Spoiler, I don't have BPPV vertigo, that kind of vertigo, which was no shock to me. I didn't think I had it. The ENT didn't think I had it. That is another thing ticked off that it's not, as we still don't know what it is. That is wrong with me. And then this morning, I had the appointment with the ENT that I was not looking forward to at all. And that appointment was to put a scope in my nose so they could videotape or record, not videotape, like video record the inside of this, because she wanted to get a better look at my throat and the back of my mouth. That sucked. So if you've never had it, hope A, that it's not too bad for you, but B, hope that you don't have as sensitive of a nose as I do. I have a very sensitive nose. And with it being inflamed and just swollen feeling in there all the time, all this feels inflamed all the time. Like right now, this sounds like this to me. It's just, can't pop my ears. Yeah, they spray stuff in your nose to numb it. Numb in the biggest quotations you could possibly imagine, because it didn't do that. And then they leave you to ponder over what's about to happen to you for about 5 minutes. And then the ENT comes in, and she pulls out this long thing. I'm going to prop. It was stupid long. It was about the size of this headphone wire here. So she pulls out the thing and and I told her, I was really nervous. She's like, "Oh, it'll be fine." I'm like, "No, it won't." And I reiterate again, the ENT is fantastic. She is great. So my nose was not getting very numb, but whatever it was running down the back of my throat. And it felt like all of the moisture inside my nasal cavity and throat area, like all of it back from here, like back into here, like back in here, was dry. Just like sandpaper dry. So I guess that's what they mean by numb. So she pulls the thing out, right? And I'm just looking at it. And she's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's not all going in there. Just this much." It was like a good 6-7 inches that she like went like this with. So she proceeds to stick the thing in my nose and just keeps pushing it and 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 pushing it. And I'm just like, good God. I could feel like scraping and moving in there. And it was So she tells me to do a bunch of different things like, say ah, say e. Stuff's hard when you're already swollen and irritated and stuff, and they're asking you to do stuff that might be okay for a regular person. But when you're not, going like ah, because when you go ah, you can feel like vibrating on your nose, if you know what I mean. So when you're trying to do that, it's pushing on the thing, and like it's just pressure, and it's the pressure pushing on it. And the hardest one, the hardest two actually, she wanted me to say the letter E. So I had to go E, and that was hard because it was like E, and it's coming from the back. Like back E comes from back here. And I couldn't do it. It was like E. And then the second thing that was really difficult was having to swallow. She's like, "Now can you swallow?" Which was already difficult for me, as I've talked about before. I talk a lot or whatnot, which I try not to do anymore. Like this will get swollen and inflamed, and it's hard to swallow. Like it's starting to now, because I'm talking to you. So she's like, "Swallow," and I had to swallow 3 times for her to be like okay with it. And it was rough. It was rough. And then she's all, "Now we can watch back the video," and I'm like, "No, I am someone that never needs to see the inside of the human body for any reason ever, at all." Hats off to surgeons and doctors and people who can just cut you open and go explore in there and not want to pass out and get sick. I'm not one of those people that can do that because I will do the latter. I'm not a inside the body person. She reviewed the video. She said there's nothing scary going on. There's no growths. There's no like polyps. There's nothing going on there, which I was worried there might be polyps just because of the way like when I talk, my throat gets irritated. And I was like, well, that's the vocal cords. So she wants to rule out that it is something called silent reflux. I've never heard of silent reflux until now. So she wants me to take pills, so more medication, and take some Pepsid before bed, and do that for 3 months, and then I'll see her again. Once again, I'm noticing that doctors, and this isn't throwing shade on her, I think she's great, but the doctors never ask you about your lifestyle habits. Do you exercise? What do you eat? How much do you eat? Are you getting enough XYZ? Enough sun? I'm not. Enough of these vitamins? I'm probably not. Etc., etc. And if you think someone has silent reflux, my first question to that person would be, if I was a doctor, would be like, well, what do you eat? What's your eating habits? Do you have a lot of acidic food, a lot of citrusy things, fruits and whatnot? I could have told her yes. I think I even mentioned in a previous update video from a month or 2 prior that I stopped having my smoothies that I make in the morning, that I started having when I had the shingles and I couldn't eat, so that I would just drink my breakfast. I just kept doing it because it tastes really good, and it was just a convenient way to get like a crap ton of vitamins right at the start of the day. I stopped drinking them because I thought, for like, I think it was like a week, 2 weeks, because I thought maybe it was a food allergy, because this started happening after the shingles. And I was like, well, maybe it's just the smoothie. I didn't think about it being the acidity of the smoothie. I didn't think I'd have any kind of, like, I don't have heartburn, So, and I eat very, very clean, very, very, very healthy. There's a few things that are very like weird to me that I'm going through, and this is one of them. But my smoothie has, banana, apple, raspberry, strawberries, blueberries, pineapple, and then I pour some orange juice in it to, make it more liquidy. That's a lot of citric acid, a lot of acidity. I also read that caffeine is not good. Tomatoes are not good. Onions are not good. We have tomato-based something multiple times a month. It is a staple. Like spaghetti is a staple in this house. So I'm just having to rethink my entire eating habits even more. Because the more I think about it, every time I go to the doctor, my blood pressure is high. It's 150 over 100, 150 over 90. That's my normal every time. And I was talking to the ENT. I'm like, could the vertigo-y feelings and the woozy feeling and the kind of cloudiness, could that all be because I just have constant high blood pressure all the time? And she said, yeah, it could be. Because I've always assumed the high blood pressure is just from being in pain every single day for over 15 years. And now my body is just starting to succumb to the weight of that. And if it's a reflux thing, then cool-ish. It can be dealt with. I'm going to start cutting out, where I can, the acidic foods. I did a lot of research when I got home because I just couldn't sleep. Because in addition to the citrusy, acidic stuff and trying to figure out, how can I have spaghetti sauce now? And how can I have breakfast? I have a little glass of sweet tea every day. That's like my little treat to myself. Can't have that. Can't have my cup of coffee either. It just, before I lament about food, something else I've been trying to cut down on. That's why I brought up the blood pressure. Maybe it's just too much sodium. I'm spitballing here because no one's really on this train of thought with me. I feel like I'm having to do my own doctor stuff. Like we're ruling things out, but I don't think we're being as thorough as we possibly could be with some stuff. Yeah, there was a few things that I make that I was shocked how much sodium was in it. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just bring it down a bit. Maybe I don't have 3,000 milligrams of sodium a day. See if we can bring it down to 2,000 and under and see if that helps. So that's what I've been trying to do. So in addition, I was lamenting because not only do I have to figure out the sodium thing and try and see if I can make that work, because low sodium things are there, but they taste so bland because they don't have that sodium salty taste to them. Between sodium and citric acid and caffeine and stuff, it's just like I'm not allowed to have anything nice, apparently. But then again, this is my own self-imposed hypothesis I am working through. I'm going to give myself a couple weeks of this. Oh, I've already had like 2 weeks of low sodium. So that's why when my blood pressure was still 150 over 100 this morning, I was really just bummed. I was bummed out. Because it's like, okay, it's not the sodium. So I brought back up my blood work. So I looked it over, but I didn't look into it because I was told it was fine. So okay, the doctors, they said it was fine. But looking over it this morning before bed, there's some problems. My sodium levels are normal, but my sodium intake is high. But then my white blood cell levels are low. And it's, reading that could be because of an infection or something wrong with your kidneys and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, I've been saying forever that that's what this feels like, an infection. But I took amoxicillin and nothing happened. It didn't do anything. So unless there's something I'm not saying amoxicillin's a cure-all, but I would rather get to the bottom of what's going on than just throw medicine at it. So if I lower the sodium and then cut out as much as possible, acidic stuff, can that help? And if it doesn't, okay, I tried. I know what it's not, in addition to all the stuff I've already found out already that it's not, without knowing what it is. And that's what I was telling Justin earlier when we were talking. I was like, I'm just frustrated because, am I glad that it's not something horrible? Yeah. But I'm also frustrated because I still don't know what's wrong with me in more ways than one. I keep getting these ailments and things happening, and no one can ever tell me definitively this is what's wrong with you. This is why your neck won't heal. This is why your hernia surgery area just feels awkward all the time. Here's why. You feel like COVID did something to your chest. Well, here's what happened. And that's what it comes down to. Like, I need to be heard. Like, I am still 100% convinced that COVID did something here and it nests in my chest. But back to the blood work real quick. In addition to the low white blood cell count, there was another low count of something. I forget what it was called. But I have really high cholesterol. Like, really high cholesterol. I don't know how. I don't have saturated fat. I don't eat poorly. I don't eat junk food. I don't drink soda. I don't eat cheese or cake or sweets or anything like that. It's also with the reflux thing. It's like I don't, other than the citrus and the coffee and the tomatoes. Like I said, we eat a lot of sauces and stuff and broths. Is my body just that sensitive that what wouldn't bother anyone else bothers me this much, that I have silent reflux from just that? Still convinced something's going on here, so we're kind of just working our way down my body. Like I would also like to take a high blood pressure medicine just to see if this clears up from the reflux stuff, and then my blood pressure comes down from blood pressure medicine. Okay, that's just my life now. Then that's what I have to do to be as close to normal as I was before stuff happened. It's tough, especially when a doctor tells you to your face that if it's something COVID related, there's nothing they can do for you. Which, all right, it's so new that we're like the guinea pigs. Those of us who have like long COVID symptoms, we're the guinea pigs. So generations of people from now can get better. I don't want to be a guinea pig. I wanted to have a long and as healthy life as possible, even with this, my back and neck stuff. But then just everything is just. So that's August. That's where we are. What's coming up next in September? I have an appointment with a neurologist here in town. But if that one doesn't go well, I'm not going to see him ever again. I haven't tried to find a new pain specialist yet. Not sure what I'm going to do about that. I don't think there's anything they can do for me, honestly. I am just so overwhelmed by visits and driving. I'm not even driving. I'm just in the car. I don't like to be in the car, obviously. But it's weighing me down. I am so worn out and I am so tired. And I know this is a process and I'm just going through it. But I just want my mind back. I want my clarity back. As much as I could have being in chronic pain. I at least had this part of my head belong to me, and now it doesn't, and it hasn't since May. But yeah, it's not BPPV. It's nothing scary in my throat that we know of that she saw. I'll do an update video after the neurosurgeon, and by then I think I should have had a few weeks in, I forget what date it is in September, but I should have had a few weeks in with the sodium and acidic food lowering diet and taking the medication. I need to contact my primary doctor and schedule an appointment and just get in there and talk to him. Like, what can we do about my high blood pressure? Why is my cholesterol so damn high when I don't eat garbage? I take very good care of myself. And I'm going to let you go. Things are still holding, but as always, keep your fingers crossed that one of these avenues gets me an answer, because this is a lot of crap to be going through at once. And it's starting to really wear me down. In addition to the traveling, in addition to the appointments, in addition to just, all right, I need to go rest my throat. As always, thank you for your patience. I do not have a time frame for anything right now, and I can't even begin to think about that because the pressure of that will just overwhelm me in addition to everything else. I am so stressed out. And I know you should be stressed out when you have high blood pressure. All right. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with me through this. If you have any advice, if you've had to go through this kind of thing before with a high blood pressure or the silent reflux, I almost said silent vertigo. Advice is always appreciated. And to everyone waiting for Doctor Who, I am so sorry. I am. And to the patrons, thank you so much. I know. I know. All right. It is. I'm upstairs. It is super warm. It's like in the 80s in like 5 in the morning. So I need to go back downstairs with air conditioning and rest my throat, as said, and all that good stuff. Thank you for watching. I will have another update for you, hopefully in a few weeks in September, and I can touch base where I am with the medication and the dietary changes. So until then.